You're listening to Once Upon a Snooze Fest. I'm so glad you could join me today. If you're enjoying the stories, we'd love for you to leave us a review. I'm your host, Nigel. We'll embark on our journey to sleep in just a minute. Find a comfortable position to fall asleep in. First, a message from our sponsors. This story is about the new life of an apple. This is a spring's promise. Nestled amidst the vibrant green foliage of a sprawling apple tree, a tiny bud began its journey. This tree, standing tall in the heart of an abundant orchard, was home to countless similar promises of life. Yet each bud held its own unique destiny. It was spring, a time when nature awakened from its slumber, and the air was filled with an invigorating sense of renewal and possibility. Our story starts here, with a delicate bud, nestled securely on a sturdy branch. Gentle breezes whispered through the tree's leaves, carrying with them the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the freshness of the slowly warming earth. Below, the ground was blanketed with dewy grass that shimmered under the early morning sun, while above, a symphony of birdsong filled the sky as feathered friends celebrated the dawn of a new day. As days turned into weeks, the bud began to flourish, kissed by the dappled sunlight that filtered through the canopy. Each morning, it felt the embrace of the rising sun, warming its tiny form and igniting a slow, steady transformation. The sky overhead painted a vast canvas of azure blue, occasionally flecked with soft, billowing clouds that drifted leisurely on a gentle breeze. At night, the orchard became a serene, quiet place, bathed in the soft glow of the moon. Stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across velvet, and the world seemed to hold its breath, cradling every growing bud in silence and watchful care. Throughout this picturesque setting, the little bud grew, nurtured by the love of the sun, the whispers of the wind, and the gentle caresses of the rain. It felt the pulse of life around it, the rhythmic dance of nature's cycles, and the silent promise of all that was to come. Thus our apple's journey began, surrounded by the relentless beauty and profound tranquility of the orchard, poised on the brink of transformation and adventure. As the sun rises over the peaceful orchard, a small bud begins its journey, high up on the branches of a sturdy apple tree. The early days are gentle and calm, with the sound of bees humming as they flit from flower to flower, collecting nectar. This apple, once just an idea within the heart of the bloom, has the world to discover. Spring is vibrant and promises growth. Petals fall softly like whispers, replaced by tiny green nubs that will soon transform. The apple feels the warmth from the sun, the cool touch of morning dew, and occasionally the refreshing splash of rain. Each drop nourishes it, helping the little apple to swell just a bit more, bit by bit, day by day. As the seasons begin to shift, summer takes hold of the orchard. Long, sunny days bring boundless energy. The apple, now no longer a mere nub, begins its rapid growth. Its skin thickens and takes on a slightly rosy hue, a preview of the vibrant color it will someday exhibit. The weather oscillates between warm sunshine and cooling showers, each element playing a role in the apple's maturation. Birds come and go, their songs filling the air with melodies. The apple listens intently as it dangles from its branch, absorbing the tales carried on the wind. Below, the orchard floor buzzes with life. Ants march in disciplined lines, beetles scuttle about, and caterpillars inch across leaves. The apple sees it all from its lofty perch, knowing that one day it too will join the bustling world below. With the onset of autumn, the apple experiences the peak of its transformation. The temperatures begin to cool, and nighttime brings a crispness to the air. The apple's skin, once green and unassuming, now deepens to a rich red, showcasing a collage of rosy patches and golden highlights, a testament to the summer sun and the nutrients shared by its tree. The apple draws strength from the soil through the tree's roots, thriving on the natural symbiosis of its environment. The wind rustles the branches, and leaves don their autumnal hues of red, orange, and yellow. They gently drift to the ground, carpeting the orchard in a blanket of colours. The apple sways with each breeze, its connection to the tree still firm, yet somehow softer. The weight of its own growth pulls it slightly earthward, teasing it with the promise of eventual freedom. And oh, the sounds of this season! The rustle of leaves creates a symphony in the apple's world, birds chirping their autumn songs, and distant wildlife preparing for winter. Rain falls with a gentle patter, each drop resonating with the life force in the apple. The storms that once felt overwhelming during spring and summer now seem almost comforting, a lullaby from nature herself. Critters below scurry about, preparing for the colder months. Squirrels gather their acorns, and rabbits nibble on the last tender blades of grass. The apple observes, feeling the interconnectedness of existence. Every living thing around it plays a role in this vast, intricate dance of life. Throughout the changing seasons, the apple's senses heighten. It can now feel the gentle thrum of the tree's heartbeat, as if in sync with its own. Every breeze and every ray of sun causes a ripple of awareness through its being, sparking a profound appreciation of the world that nurtures it. As autumn wanes, the skies grow overcast more often, the days become shorter, and the apple senses an impending change. This stage of growth has been enlightening and fulfilling. It feels the full spectrum of the natural world, from the caress of the sun to the cool grip of an evening breeze. Its journey from a tiny bud to a nearly ripe apple has brought it a sense of readiness, eager anticipation for what lies ahead, whatever that may be. The apple's journey is one of patience and resilience, invoking the beauty of change, harmonized perfectly with the rhythm of nature. Every stage of growth brings new colors, sensations, and a deepening connection to the life that surrounds it. As it nears its peak ripeness, it feels a burgeoning excitement, an awareness that its story is only just beginning. As the days lengthened under the warm embrace of the sun, the apple hung on the branch, cradled by the lush, green foliage that surrounded it. Each morning, a gentle chorus of birdsong echoed through the orchard, a symphony of chirps and trills that welcomed the dawn. The apple often marveled at this melodious greeting, the various bird species harmonizing together, each contributing their unique note to the vibrant morning concert. Around the tree, the meadows stretched out like a green and gold carpet, dotted with wildflowers in hues of purple, yellow, and white, their delicate petals swaying gently in the breeze. Bumblebees buzzed diligently from flower to flower, their tiny bodies covered in pollen. The apple admired their persistence and dedication, realizing that even the smallest creatures had an important role to play in this grand tableau of life. The leaves of the apple tree rustled softly in the wind, producing a soothing whisper that caressed the apple's skin. It was a sound that spoke of peace, evoking the gentle dance of shadows and light on the ground below. These rustling leaves were the apple's constant companions, sharing secrets through sighs and murmurs, always swaying to an invisible rhythm dictated by the breeze. Further afield, a small brook babbled over its rocky bed, its clear water glistening under the shimmering sunlight. The subtle gurgling and splashing added a fresh, bubbly note to the orchard's soundscape. Sometimes, a family of ducks could be seen paddling along, their soft quacks creating a playful counterpoint to the brook's babble. The apple could not see the brook from its leafy perch, but its musical whispers were a constant reminder of the lively world just beyond its sight. In this serene yet vibrant ecosystem, insects played their part too. The occasional buzzing of dragonflies as they zipped through the air, their wings flashing iridescence, painted vivid stripes of colour and light. Ladybugs crawled over the bark, ants marched in organised lines, and butterflies flitted gracefully around, their wings a marvellous display of patterns and colours created by nature's own artist. At dusk, the colours of the orchard deepened, the sky transforming into a canvas of pinks, oranges and purples. The setting sun bathed everything in a warm, golden glow, making the apple glow with a soft internal light. As night fell, the sounds changed their tune. Crickets began their nightly serenade, their rhythmic chirping a reminder of time passing. Occasionally, an owl's hoot echoed through the trees, a guardian of the night watching over the orchard with keen eyes. With every breath of wind and every play of light, the apple felt the pulse of life around it. The apple tree was not merely its home, it was part of an intricate, interconnected web of life that stretched across the meadow and beyond. The apple's senses delighted in this natural world, a world where every sound, sight and movement told a story of its own. It felt a profound connection to the earth, the sky, and everything in between, each element contributing to the apple's own tale. The apple often studied the activities around it with a sense of wonder and respect. It was a silent observer to this ballet of nature, an essential yet humble participant in the orchard's ecosystem. Every leaf, every insect, every bird and breeze painted a picture of harmony, urging the apple to appreciate the beauty and complexity of the world it was a part of. Yet, despite the constant serenity, the orchard was alive with the electrically charged anticipation of change. Seasons shifted slowly but surely, each bringing its own melody and hue, each adding layers to the apple's experience. Spring's vibrant rebirth, summer's lush abundance, fall's fiery farewell, and winter's quiet slumber followed one another like verses in a never-ending song. In its quiet moments, the apple would close its metaphorical eyes and simply listen to the harmonious orchestra of nature, the susurrus of leaves, the happy hum of bees, the lyrical chatter of birds, and the gentle murmur of the brook. This was its world, a spectacular and ever-changing symphony that it was privileged to witness and be a part of. As time washed over the orchard, the apple continued to observe, to grow, and to absorb the wisdom of the natural world surrounding it. It learned that beauty lies in the simplest things, the dew glistening on a spider's web, the soft velvet petals of a blooming flower, and the rhythmic sway of branches in the wind. And always, it carried within it the lessons of the sights and sounds that had accompanied its journey so far. In time, the apple would be ready to embark on its own adventure, to discover what lay beyond the familiar sounds of its home. But for now, it cherished every moment amidst the rustling leaves, the birdsong, and the gentle hum of life in the orchard. A peaceful, vibrant sanctuary that had nurtured it from a mere blossom to a nearly ripened fruit. As days turned into weeks and the warm breath of summer lingered, the apple began to feel different. Subtle changes whispered through its skin. It was no longer the small green bud that once clung dearly to the branch of the apple tree. No, now it had grown plump and firm, and hints of red and gold started to dance across its surface. The apple could feel itself ripening, the transformation both thrilling and mysterious. Each morning, the apple bathed in the gentle rays of the rising sun. The sunlight was warm and nurturing, coaxing more colour into its skin. It could sense the pigments swirling beneath, blending and forming a beautiful hue that signalled its maturity. The once pale green now transformed into a vibrant, rich red, mixed with a blush of golden yellow. It was a sight to behold, and the apple felt an undeniable pride in its transformation. As the days progressed, the apple noticed the air around it changing. The breezes felt cooler, carrying a hint of the coming autumn, while the heat of the day began to soften. The tree's leaves, too, began to display their own symphony of colours, with oranges and yellows blossoming alongside the apple's brilliant reds. The apple felt a kinship with these leaves, all part of the same cycle of nature that dictated growth and change. There were the sounds, too, that marked this transition. Rustling leaves whispered secrets of the season, while birds sang melodies that echoed through the orchard. The apple listened intently, feeling a part of this living, breathing world. Nearby, insects hummed and buzzed, going about their daily routines, unaware of the apple's ponderous thoughts. Everything seemed to be preparing for a shift, an almost tangible anticipation hanging in the air. the apple felt a sense of ripeness at its core, a fullness that signified readiness. This feeling was not merely physical, but carried a certain wisdom, an understanding that it had absorbed during its time on the tree. It remembered the strong winds that had tested its resilience, and the relentless sun that had nourished it. The apple had grown, not just in size, but in spirit, and it could sense that a significant change was imminent. There was a particular day when the apple noticed a slight tug at its stem. It was still attached firmly to the branch, but the connection didn't feel as secure as it used to. The apple wondered if this was a sign, a gentle hint that its time was coming. What lay ahead? Where would it go? These questions filled its thoughts, mingling with a deep sense of curiosity and a touch of anxiety. The apple began to pay closer attention to the other fruits around it. It observed those that had already fallen, lying peacefully in the grass below. They seemed different, changed in some way by their detachment from the tree. There was an unspoken story in their quiet stillness, a tale of both loss and liberation. The apple contemplated this duality, sensing that its own story would soon include such a moment of transformation. Each night, as the world around it quieted down and the stars peeked through the velvet sky, the apple reflected on its journey so far. It recounted the days of rapid growth when it absorbed every drop of rain and every ray of sunshine. It thought of the times it had swayed gently in the breeze, enjoying the lullaby of the wind. These memories were cherished, a testament to its life on the tree, but they also stirred a yearning for what was yet to come. As days passed, the anticipation grew stronger. The apple's colours deepened. It felt its flesh becoming tender and sweet. The nutrients from the tree continued to flow, but there was an understanding that soon it would need to sustain itself. The apple saw this as a rite of passage, a moment when it would have to let go and trust in the world below. It was ready to embrace the unknown, to experience the drop that would set it free. The apple could feel the tree itself preparing for this transition. The branches seemed to cradle it more gently, as if acknowledging the impending separation. There was a silent communication between them, a bond that had been nurtured through seasons. This connection provided comfort, a reminder that even as it moved forward, the apple would always be a part of this tree, its roots entwined with its origins. Amidst these reflections, there was also excitement. The apple envisioned rolling across the soft grass, the cool touch of the earth, and the vastness of the world beyond. It imagined meeting new creatures, experiencing different sensations, and discovering places it could never see from the height of the tree. This excitement mingled with a sense of destiny, as if every day on the tree had been leading up to this very moment. Every morning, the sunlight seemed to illuminate the apple's thoughts, filling it with courage and anticipation. It felt a warmth, not just from the sun, but from within, a readiness that solidified with each passing day. The apple was aware of the delicate balance it was in, hovering on the brink of change, yet it embraced this liminal space, savouring the moments before the fall. Then, one especially crisp morning, the apple noticed a slight increase in the firmness of the breeze. It swayed a little more, its stem strained just a bit further. A mix of emotions surged within: apprehension, excitement, a touch of sadness, and a large dose of hope. It knew that its journey was about to take a new turn. The ripening process was complete, and the apple readied itself for whatever awaited in the world below. Each breath of wind, each passing second, brought it closer to that pivotal moment. The apple could feel the final stretch of its journey on the tree. It understood that soon it would be time to let go, to bid adieu to the branch that had nurtured it from a tiny bud into a ripe, vibrant fruit. It closed its metaphorical eyes, feeling the life and warmth from the tree one last time, preparing to embrace the world with its newfound ripeness, ready to explore the adventures that lay beyond the reach of the branches. In the coolness of an early autumn morning, the apple hung, swaying gently on its branch. The once firm grip it had on the tree was loosening, and the world felt more alive than ever. A breeze rustled through the leaves above and around, evoking a faint melodic whisper that resonated through the apple's very core. The sun peeked over the horizon, casting golden hues that made the dewdrops shimmer like tiny diamonds on the grass below. The apple could feel its connection weakening. The stem, now brittle and dry, seemed to be whispering a quiet farewell. This apple had witnessed many changes since it sprouted as a small bud. It had grown under the watchful eye of the sun and the nurturing touch of the rain. Now, it was ready to embark on a new chapter. The stories it had heard from birds and the rustle of nearby fruits about the freedom that awaited. A gentle jolt caught the apple off guard. Another breeze, stronger this time, rustled through the branches. The tension in its stem gave way. For a brief, exhilarating moment, the apple was suspended in mid-air, a strange mix of fear and exhilaration coursing through its being. As it began to descend, the cold wind brushed past its skin, the sensation new and almost electrifying. The world around it spun, presenting splashes of colour and light. The apple noticed the green canopy above, the rugged trunk that had been home, and the endless blue sky, all twirling in a slow dance. The sensation of falling was unlike anything the apple had experienced before. It felt as if it were liberating itself from the constraints of its previous life. Each millisecond stretched into an eternity where thoughts collided with emotions, creating a whirlwind of anticipation and curiosity. Was this freedom? The apple hit the soft, dewy grass with a gentle thud. The impact, though slight, sent a rippling wave through its core. For the first time, the apple lay separated from the tree, basking in the fresh, earthy scent of the ground, the warmth of the sun growing stronger. Each sunbeam felt like a gentle kiss, promising new beginnings. The apple took in its surroundings from a whole new perspective. Tall blades of grass swayed nearby, cradling the fruit tenderly. A procession of ants meandered past, driven by their silent purpose. The world seemed broader, deeper, filled with infinite possibilities. Thoughts raced through the apple's mind. How different everything felt. How vibrant the colours, how varied the sounds. The apple looked back at the tree that had nurtured it, appreciating the gentle strength that had supported it through its growth. But now it was time to move forward, to roll on and explore. With a subtle shift, the apple began to roll, relishing the sense of motion. As it moved, the grass whispered ancient secrets. The earth beneath told tales of countless travellers. The sensations were intoxicating, new textures, new temperatures. Every inch travelled revealed something marvellous and unexpected. The apple had imagined what this moment might feel like countless times, always with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Now that it was happening, the reality surpassed all those dreams. The sense of freedom, the rush of possibilities. It was like stepping into the unknown with open arms and a willing heart. Embracing the journey, the apple rolled farther from the tree, ready to discover the wider world around it, not just existing, but truly living, free from the confines of its branch, ready to write its own story. With a gentle thud, the apple landed on the ground. It took a moment to orient itself, feeling the cool earth beneath its smooth skin. The sensation was new and exhilarating. No longer tethered to the tree, the apple felt a sense of boundless possibility and curiosity about what lay beyond the base of the tree it had known all its life. Rolling slowly at first, the apple began to move downhill, propelled by the gentle slope of the orchard. It passed through patches of soft grass, each blade tickling its surface. The vivid green of the grass stood in stark contrast to the apple's own deep red hue, creating a vibrant tapestry. Above, the sky stretched endlessly, a brilliant blue canvas peppered with fluffy white clouds. As the apple continued to roll, it encountered the first of many new sights. A family of ants marched industriously across its path, carrying tiny bits of leaves back to their hill. The apple marvelled at their determination and teamwork. A beetle scurried past, its shiny shell catching the sunlight, adding a moment of glitter to the apple's journey. Nearing the edge of the orchard, the apple was greeted by a burst of colour. Wildflowers of every shade swayed in the gentle breeze, and the apple could almost hear them whispering to each other. Bright yellow daisies, delicate purple lavender, and fiery red poppies painted the landscape, filling the air with their sweet scents. A butterfly fluttered past, its patterned wings creating a mesmerizing dance that drew the apple's attention upward. Rolling further, the apple reached a small stream. It paused at the water's edge, looking at its reflection for the first time. The clear water mirrored back an image of vibrant ripeness, a stark difference from the small green bud it once was. Fascinated, the apple stayed there for a moment, enjoying the cool mist from the babbling brook. Deciding to explore more, the apple attempted to cross the stream, using the smooth stones that peeked above the surface. Each hop was an adventure in itself, with the slight splash of the cold water sending shivers through its core. On the other side, the terrain became more rugged, with patches of moss and scattered rocks. The apple soon found itself at the entrance of a dense forest. The towering trees loomed overhead, their branches forming a protective canopy. Rays of sunlight pierced through the leaves, casting a dappled glow on the forest floor. The apple felt a sense of wonder and slight trepidation, but its excitement for discovery pushed it forward. Inside the forest, everything felt alive. Birds sang melodious tunes high above, and squirrels chattered as they bounded from branch to branch. The apple rolled past clusters of mushrooms, their earthy scent mingling with the dampness of the forest. Every nook and cranny seemed to hide a tiny world of its own. At one point, the apple paused, spotting a family of deer grazing nearby. The gentle creatures lifted their heads, their large eyes showing curiosity but no fear. One of the fawns came closer, sniffing the apple before bounding away to continue its playful romp. Continuing on its path, the apple encountered a steep hill. Determined to see what lay beyond it, the apple rolled slowly upward, using every bit of momentum and will. At the top, it was rewarded with a breathtaking view, a sprawling meadow dotted with wildflowers, bordered by distant mountains whose peaks kissed the sky. It was a sight that the apple would remember forever, a moment of peace and beauty that felt like a warm embrace from nature itself. As the sun began its descent, casting an orange and pink glow across the horizon, the apple rolled down the hill into the meadow. Fireflies began to twinkle, their lights creating a magical atmosphere. The apple felt a sense of contentment, realizing that its journey was just beginning. It had left the familiarity of the apple tree, but traded it for endless possibilities and adventures. This new world offered experiences that expanded its understanding and appreciation of life. The apple understood that freedom came with the joy of exploration and the thrill of the unknown. It had found a sense of belonging, not just tied to a branch, but as a part of the vast, vibrant world around it. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm, golden hue over the sprawling meadow, the apple nestled between the grass and dirt paused for a moment to reflect. It had come so far from the tiny bud that had once clung to the tree's branch. The days of swaying in the gentle breezes, basking in the nurturing sunlight, and feeling the refreshing kiss of the rain were but memories now. Yet they were integral to its very essence. The apple thought back to the seasons it had witnessed, each one leaving its mark. Spring had brought the first stirrings of life, with blossoms painting the orchard with delicate white petals. Summer had brought warmth and growth, the apple swelling with sweetness under the watchful gaze of the sun. Autumn, vibrant and colourful, had finally ripened it, filling it with anticipation. Now it was free. Free from the tree that had been its home, its anchor, its world. Rolling away upon the whisper of liberation, it had ventured into the unknown. The sensations of the soft earth beneath, the rustle of the leaves around, and the distant songs of birds were now part of its new reality. Every moment felt like an affirmation of its existence. Every new sight and sound a testament to its newfound freedom. In its quiet contemplation, the apple realized that growth was never just about getting larger or more vibrant. It was about experiencing change, embracing the unfamiliar and discovering the vast possibilities that lay beyond the familiar branches. The journey had been filled with uncertainties, yet it had also been profoundly enriching. The apple understood that it was a part of a much larger cycle, a continuous dance of life and transformation. From the tree, it had drawn sustenance and strength, and in its fall, it had found liberation and purpose. The world was vast, and its journey had only just begun. And so, with a sense of quiet fulfillment, the apple settled into the stillness of the evening, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. Growth, change, and freedom had become its guiding principles, and in them, it found a profound sense of peace. The story of the apple had begun with a bud, blossomed on the tree, and now, as it ventured into the world, it carried with it the spirit of every moment that had shaped its journey.